And so now there's a trial. The case is happening. You know, it's going to be a tough defense.
Oh, he's getting convicted. I don't really think there's a lot of mystery about that. He's going to get convicted. The jury's going to hate him.
Yes, Trump has even lost Megyn Kelly. And heading into the trial where Trump is accused of falsifying business records to pay off Stormy Daniels, the Don is freaking out. The White House thugs should not be allowed to have these dangerous and unfair Biden trials during my campaign for president.
Whether you're biased or not biased, and they're going to try and root that stuff out, the facts in the case. I mean, for example, you don't actually believe Trump didn't have an affair with Stormy Daniels, as he says, right?
I do not. No, I believe there was an interlude. I don't know if affair may be too
Whatever,
strong.
yes, all right, fair.
It is communism at its worst and election interference at its best. No such thing has ever happened in our country before.
Putting aside whether the jury's in Manhattan or the jury's somewhere else, it's a tough technical case for him.
On Monday, I will be forced to sit gagged before a highly conflicted and corrupt judge whose hatred for me has no bounds. All of these New York and D.C. judges and prosecutors have the same mindset. Nobody but the Soros prosecutor, Alvin Bragg, wanted to take this ridiculous case.
The sex happened between them. And, you know, and that's going to be a tricky part of his defense, right? His defense is going to still be, it didn't happen, but I wanted to make this go away to protect my family, etc.
Just think of it. These animals want to put the former president of the United States, who got more votes than any sitting president, and the party's Republican candidate in jail for doing absolutely nothing wrong. It is a rush to the finish. So unfair.
I think the jury's going to believe that he paid off a porn star before the election to make her go away, and that he didn't write down in his books hush money to Stormy Daniels, because no one in the history of hush money payments has ever written that in any book anywhere. It defeats the whole purpose of a hush money payment.
Which helps explain why Donald Trump is going crazy. He thought he would get away with this affair or interlude years ago, but it is haunting him yet again. Only this time it's going to play out in a Manhattan courtroom. Trump could be convicted for falsifying business records, and he could be sentenced to jail. And as you heard from Dan Abrams, it's not a difficult technical case for the jury to follow. The law is clear, and the evidence is straightforward. Making matters worse for Trump, all of his pretrial efforts to delay this case have been defeated. Here's the summary from ABC News correspondent Aaron Katersky.
Former President Trump has tried no fewer than 10 times to delay this trial, now scheduled to start at this courthouse, as you say, in 5 days. An appeals court refused to pause the trial while Trump takes on a gag order that stops him from attacking witnesses, prosecutors, and court staff. Trump complained that the gag order infringes on his right to speak about his defense with the public and the public's right to engage with a presidential candidate. But prosecutors said this isn't political debate. These are insults, and argued Trump has an uncontested history of making inflammatory, threatening, denigrating remarks. An appeals court also declined to pause the trial while Trump tries to get it moved out of Manhattan. Now, he still has several other long-shot delay tactics left, including an effort to get the judge kicked off the case because his daughter did political work for Democrats. But as of now, Michael, the jury selection is scheduled to start here on Monday. Lawyers will begin deciding who will sit in judgment of the first former American president to ever face criminal trial.
Yes, Donald Trump will be the first former president to ever face criminal trial. And regarding the last-ditch attempt to remove the judge, an appeals court considered similar motions months ago, determined there was no conflict of interest, and said the judge should stay on the case. And if Donald Trump gets convicted, watch out. The chances of a jail sentence are real, thanks in part to what has now happened to Trump's former chief financial officer. Alan Weisselberg has been sentenced to prison for committing perjury. This is the second time the 76-year-old is going behind bars. Here's former federal prosecutor Nick Ackerman on CNN.
So the main significance coming out of all of this is that because Alan Weisselberg, who is being sent to jail twice, because of not cooperating against Donald Trump and doing things for Donald Trump, what all of that means is if Donald Trump is convicted in this upcoming case starting on Monday, I think it's almost impossible that the judge in that case will not send Donald Trump to the presidential suite at Rikers Island.
Presidential suite at Rikers Island. And while lawyers point out there could be an appeals process that might delay any Trump behind bars scenario, Donald Trump's legal team is proving they are not the best and the brightest. Headline, Trump's attorneys trolled after they subpoena wrong Jeremy Rosenberg for hush money trial. I'm keeping the $15. Quote, in a filing from the Manhattan District Attorney's Office on Tuesday, prosecutors revealed that Mr. Trump's attorney, Todd Blanche, had tried to subpoena former district attorney supervising rackets investigator Jeremy Rosenberg in March to seek files related to the Republican presidential candidate's former lawyer, Michael Cohen. However, it transpired that Mr. Blanche made an embarrassing mistake sending the subpoena to a man from Brooklyn, also called Jeremy Rosenberg. While the man shares the same name as the former DA's office investigator, he has zero connection to the criminal case against the former president. Following the blunder, Mr. Rosenberg decided to have a bit of fun with Mr. Trump's attorneys and told them he'd be keeping the money they sent him. I don't have any files for you, the apparently bemused Brooklynite wrote back. According to a filing from the former president's legal team, he added, P.S. The phone number you provided was disconnected. P.P.S. I'm keeping the $15, he added, referencing the money Mr. Trump's lawyers had sent him to help pay for sending the documents. Trump's lawyers initially thought he was still the right man. Quote, Mr. Blanche had complained earlier this week that the man that he believed, the former investigator, Mr. Rosenberg, had displayed a flippant and dismissive approach to a subpoena, despite ample experience with the criminal justice system that should have instilled in him respect for this process and a criminal defendant's rights. But in fact, Mr. Trump's lawyers had simply served court papers on the wrong man. And now, the man they're trying to keep out of jail, Donald Trump, is facing an embarrassing trial that legal analysts describe as a slam dunk for conviction. And so, Donald Trump is blowing his stack, and his anger is only going to intensify. By the way, Donald Trump's fiercest defender in Congress, Marjorie Taylor Greene, is getting blasted as claims grow that she is working for Russia.
Moscow Marjorie is focused now on this Ukraine issue and getting her talking points from the Kremlin.
Getting her talking points from the Kremlin. Moscow Marjorie. That is Colorado Republican Ken Buck talking about Marjorie Taylor Greene.
We know that she is getting her talking points from Russia, and we know that they're false.
This is a war on Christianity. The Ukrainian government is attacking Christians. The Ukrainian government is executing priests.
We know that Russia is propagating these false statements, narratives about what's going on in Ukraine.
Russia is not doing that. They're not attacking Christianity. As a matter of fact, they seem to be protecting it. So that's something else that's clear and obvious to many people that are looking closely at what's going on.
Mike Johnson is doing the responsible thing by trying to make sure we get a vote on Ukraine funding, make sure that the Ukrainian people can fight for their freedom. The fact that Marjorie is continuing down this false path, I don't think many Republicans are going to support her.
Check out that video at the link below. It generated a lot of comments on YouTube. One of the most popular is from Matt Miller, 7338, who wrote, Greene has got to go. She's not only a Trump propaganda machine, but now she's a Putin propaganda machine. Indeed. I look forward to reading your comments about legal analysts predicting doom for Donald Trump in the hush money trial. I'm David Shuster. Thanks for joining us.